should lift it above language is that one word can have several meanings. And that's fine. The thing is that, even if some of the narratives, I'm not saying this particular narratives, because I personally don't believe in miracles as break of physical laws, but maybe some narratives have a particular meaning which is relevant to its own temporal context, also have a metaphorical meaning, and every person would relate to it in his own way. I mean, if, for example, maybe an Indian man here finds this verse, I mean, the way God speaks to him is that he feels that the meaning of the verse is out-of-body experience. I, as a scientist, find it very hard to believe in outer-body experience. So, for me, it would become a very difficult thing if God had said it unambiguously.
Yeah.
So, maybe these things are deliberately less ambiguous so that all of us can relate to it.
I absolutely agree, because the Quran tells us some of this is metaphor, some of this is clear. 415 times it tells you absolutely clearly what you must do. Go out and fight the oppressors, be nice to people. It tells you very clearly. Nobody argues about that. There are no forums, no sects saying, oh no, we don't help poor people. Oh no, we don't have to be nice to our parents. This is absolutely clear. The rest of it, that is deliberately, I agree with you, deliberately ambiguous, because God knows exactly how to use his words. He doesn't talk about the messenger when he means the prophet, and he doesn't talk about his servant when he means Muhammad. He can be very, very clear. And so the metaphor, I think, I agree with you, is open to interpretation, and if that's how you receive the message, then that's fine, because your dialectic centre is different from somebody else's. Your perspective. You are stationary when you read the text. The text is moving. So it's moving in a different direction at a different pace for you and for you and for me. As long as we access, it doesn't matter how. And that's why, to me, I gave up at ritual prayer because it means nothing to me. But I'm not going to say to somebody else, you can't do that. Because if that's how they access, if that's how you lock into this thing, then that's absolutely fantastic. As long as you do. If you're doing it and it's meaningless, then that's where you need to, I think, and this is what I meet a lot of people who say, yeah, I don't know about this Salah thing because I don't really feel it. And then you find your own way of doing it. On the other hand, to traditionalists, the idea of breaking that down is terrifying to them. And you said this earlier about your own experience. That because to me, as a non-ritual practicer, I think it's beautiful. Traditional Salah done in groups is very beautiful, and I think it's a very powerful spiritual experience for the people who do it. Everybody facing the same way at the same time, doing the same thing, I think has a tremendous spiritual power. I don't think it's directed by God, but if that's a way of reaching God, then I'm not going to tell people not to do it. So how you access it is entirely up to you. The only thing I'm worried about is this fixing the text into the 7th century so that eventually we are following, there are shops in London that sell leather socks. I'm sorry, but really, that you're going to go to heaven because you wear 7th century clothes. To me it's ridiculous, but it's very, very sad. It is. I'm sorry if you're wearing them. You secretly have them.
Are you saying that the metaphors in the Quran are equally ambiguous at all times, or would they be less ambiguous in the 7th century when they first?
That's a very good question, and I thought about that when I was doing this. I struggled with this because where the Quran talks about we've given it to you in a clear language, we've given it to you in an Arabic language, it doesn't say we've given it to you in the Arabic of the 7th century. So I think that, yes, it's as ambiguous, and I think that's deliberate. I think it's so that you have a personal connection, that it's not we all sit in a row and God tells us what to do and we do it just because he said it, that we actually ponder it and think, okay, now I get it. This is how I'm going. Because some bits of the Quran I read and I was like, huh? And then I leave it aside because I'm not ready for that. But things that jump out at me that I'm reading are things that direct me on the path that I want to go. So I personally, I think yes, because God knows exactly how to use his own language. And he could have halted our understanding at the 7th century if that was the language it was given in.